It's Sunday, 2 p.m. You finally cleared the morning. Dishes done, laundry folded, absolutely nothing scheduled for the next 4 hours. So you sit down. You open the show you've been meaning to watch. And within 90 seconds, your chest tightens. You pull out your phone. You start mentally drafting next week's grocery list. You think, I should probably just answer those emails real quick. You're not bad at relaxing. Your nervous system learned a long time ago that being still wasn't safe. If you've ever felt like resting is itself a kind of failing, this is going to make you feel seen. Here's what nobody tells you about rest. For some people, it isn't relaxing. It's threatening. Your body reads stillness as danger. Your brain reads free time as a moral test. And the second you stop producing, a small voice asks, "Who are you when you're not useful?" Researchers have a few names for this: hyperproductivity, conditional self-worth. A nervous system that learned very early that love and belonging were earned through output, not given freely. So when you sit down to rest, your body doesn't say, "Finally," it says, "Something's wrong. Move." And you do. And then you wonder why you're so tired. Here's where it gets interesting. Dr. Lisa M. Hooper, who studies parentification, describes a pattern where children take on emotional or practical responsibilities meant for adults. Reading the room before they could read books. Managing a parent's mood. Becoming the easy one so the household didn't tip over. Translation? Your job from before you can remember was to be useful. Worth and labor got soldered together so early, you don't even feel them as separate things. Of course rest feels foreign. You were never given a version of yourself that wasn't on duty. Rest, for a parentified kid, isn't relief. It's an absence of role. An absence of role used to mean something was about to go wrong. Then there's what's happening in your body. Bruce McEwen at Rockefeller University spent decades studying allostatic load, basically the cumulative wear and tear from being in fight or flight too long. Here's the thing. When your nervous system spends years in low-grade vigilance, the off switch gets harder to find. Your baseline isn't calm. Your baseline is hum. So when you try to rest, your body has nothing to compare it to except something must be wrong. That weird, jittery restlessness on a quiet afternoon, that isn't laziness avoidance. That's a sympathetic nervous system that doesn't know how to stand down. And the recovery you do attempt, a glass of wine, a Netflix marathon, the doom scroll, that's suppression, not regulation. It quiets the noise without ever resetting the dial. Then there's the worth question. Jennifer Crocker at Ohio State has spent years studying what she calls contingent self-worth, which is when your sense of being worthwhile is tied to performance, achievement, approval. Translation, you're not allowed to just exist. You have to earn your existence, daily, through evidence. Rest feels like failing, because rest is the one state where no evidence is being generated, no proof, no output. And without output, the voice in your head doesn't know what you're for. And here's the kicker. Neuroscientist Marcus Rakel identified something called the default mode network, the part of your brain that comes online when you stop focusing on tasks. It's responsible for memory consolidation, identity, creativity, working through unprocessed feelings. Translation, your brain literally needs the off-task time to do its most important work. It's why your best ideas show up in the shower, on a walk, the moment you finally stop trying. Wild, right? The thing you're avoiding is the thing your brain is begging for. Notice how this shows up. It's Friday at 6 p.m. and the work week officially ends. And instead of relief, you feel a low-grade dread. You don't know what to do with yourself. So you make a list. Errands, chores, a fun project that's actually just more work in a different costume. Or it's the third day of vacation and you finally start to unclench. And immediately, panic. A guilt that has no source. The thought, I should be doing something. But there's nothing to do. That's the point. And that emptiness feels somehow worse than the work you came here to escape. This is why you treat hobbies like jobs. Why you can't just read, you have to track the books. Why you can't just walk, you have to measure the steps. Why even the things that should be restorative get drafted into the productivity economy. Because pure pleasure without proof feels indulgent. Think about the last time someone told you, sincerely, you don't have to do anything today, just rest. And you nodded. And then within 20 minutes, you were reorganizing a drawer. Because the alternative, sitting with yourself, doing nothing, generating nothing, felt unbearable. Not boring, unbearable. There's a difference, and your nervous system knows it. You're not addicted to productivity. You're addicted to feeling like you have a reason to exist. Here's where this gets darker. A nervous system that can't rest doesn't just feel tired, it breaks down. Research on allostatic load links chronic vigilance to autoimmune flares, gut dysregulation, sleep that doesn't actually restore, the kind of bone-deep exhaustion a vacation can't touch. And there's an emotional cost too. When your worth is tied to output, your worst day is a low-output day, even if that day was technically rest. So you spent the whole day failing at the one thing you were supposed to be doing. And you go back to work on Monday more depleted than you started. And the cycle tightens. Here's what I want to leave you with. Bakers know something most of us don't. When you make sourdough, the loudest, most visible part is the kneading, the mixing, the shaping. But the actual transformation, the part where flour and water become bread, happens during the long, quiet fermentation, the hours where you set it on the counter and walk away. From the outside, nothing is happening. The dough just sits there, looking inert, looking lazy. But inside, the yeast is rebuilding the entire structure. Skip that step, and you don't get bread. You get a brick. You're not lazy when you rest. You're a body that was conscripted into adulthood early and never got demobilized. And the rest you're avoiding isn't the absence of work. It's the fermentation. Quiet, invisible, and absolutely essential. So tell me, what does rest actually feel like in your body? Peaceful or like something slightly wrong? If this hit home for you, please subscribe. And if you want to support these deep dives, hit that join button to become a channel member. I would genuinely appreciate your support.